Hi students, this is Dr. Nisha Varshney once again with one more interesting chapter of history, Nationalism in India. I have very well explained you what do you mean by nationalism. And this particular chapter of nationalism in India is focusing only on contribution of Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, there were 7 lakh people died in the process of nationalism right from Mangal Pandey 1857 till 1947 we got the independence. Okay, during this process 7 lakh people died, but this particular chapter is in the respect of Mahatma Gandhi. What did he contribute for the country? So we are going to learn about nationalism in his perspective and his contribution in this chapter. So I would like you to please write certain timeline which I am going to tell you now, because it is important. Once you will write and listen to the story, history is all about story, so you will learn this chapter within few minutes. I am telling you, it's very easy, simple. Most of the things you have learned in small classes like 6th, 7th, 8th also. So this is going to be repeated and revising the things, some of the facts. So Mahatma Gandhi was born in Gujarat, and he went to England for higher studies. Next, when he came back, he did not find any work here. To fight one case, because he was a lawyer, to fight one case he had to go to South Africa, and he went there and won the case. And he saw so much problems of Indians and Asians out there, and there he did a small protest, or you can say in favor of Indians. He opened his mouth or formed some groups and all, and became very popular. So his way of doing protest was on the based of concept of Satyagraha that I will be discussing within few minutes. Just coming back to his background. So he lived there for 15 years in South Africa, and was influencing the government of South Africa to be equal, to practice equal treatment for all the people living in your country. Not only to South Africans, even actually the South Africa was being ruled by the British only, the whites, and they were mistreating all the blacks of South African. The native population is black, and browns you can say Indian in terms of color, right? I am telling you, else we should not use these terms also. We all are human beings. We should not be recognized by the color of our skin. However, the terms has been used in the text, so I am repeating it. So he was fighting for the favor of the blacks and the browns in South Africa, and became very popular. And he followed the policy of Satyagraha. So when he saw that Britishers are doing the same practices in India, so after staying there for 15 years, he came back to India in 1915. Please write the first timeline of this chapter. 1915, Mahatma Gandhi arrived in India. After arriving here, he started following the same principles. What the principles he followed there? Now I am coming to the, write down questions on the separate page and timeline on the separate page simultaneously. So he followed the concept of Satyagraha. So write down the first question. What do you mean by Satyagraha? I don't think so I have to go into the detail. You are well aware what is Satyagraha: to fight for Satya, truth, but without violence, and by winning the conscience of the oppressor. So same way, if somebody is slapping you, just have more slaps, more slaps, more slaps. Once the slapper would tired, he will give up, and he will not slap you, and he may ask you why did not you react. So after seeing your patience, he may start agreeing with you, which he was denying earlier. So that is, in a nutshell, is called Satyagraha. So that is the theory recoined. This has been a theory of many saints since ages, from Buddha, Vivekananda and all, but it is recoined by Mahatma Gandhi in 20th century and practiced, and of course the success was visible in some of the cases, but not in all. So first question was, what was the Satyagraha? To answer this question, source A is the complete answer. Source A is the complete answer. And under that, one line is also given. Satyagraha does not mean passive, being passive. Passive means that you don't have strength to react. Satyagraha is an active practice. All the time you have to be aware that you don't have to react. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to use your body to hit anyone. You don't have to use violence, and violence are of two types, physical and verbal. So anyhow, if you are constantly aware that you don't have to use violence, so that this is called active resistance, which is very difficult for all of us to practice. We lose our patience easily and we just react. So this is called Satyagraha, and it is not passive resistance, it is active. Okay, this question can be asked. So here two questions can be asked to you. Correct. So what was Satyagraha is that? What was the principle or philosophy of Gandhi, and how did he enter into this? Through South Africa, and now he is coming back to India. And when he came into India in 1915. Now write the one timeline more. Next step, 1914 to 1918, First World War. Write down from 1914 to 1918, First World War. So First World War was going on the same time, and where was the war going on? In Europe. We were not part of it. However, we were ruled by the UK. So indirectly our people were thrown into the war to fight for the England. Correct. Same time the First World War going on. This is the next line, and many issues were seen. Now you understand the situation of our country. There was no leader. Britishers are ruling. Half of kings they have already surrendered themselves to the British. Nobody is taking care of them, and new concepts of nationalism are coming across the world, and so with different social groups to club them together. It was very difficult job to plan something that will be successful. So in such a situation, plan does not work. Something courageous done by many people is always welcomed and always appreciated. Same thing was done by Gandhi somewhere. Through his Satyagraha, he wanted to put pressure on the British that your policies are wrong. Correct. So I am telling you here two things. First World War was going on. British was fighting in the war. They were taking Indians in the war, fight for us. Means they were asking us to die in the name of England. Forced recruitment was going on by the British. So Indians were very, tense, and they had resentment against British. 1, 2. Same time there was a drought in the country. There was no food to eat, and they were hardly bothered that Indians, we should feed Indians because we are ruling them. This is my job. They did not consider. Third, same time a disease called plague got spread, and I think 13 million people died. Yes, during that 13 million people died because of famine and because of the disease. So there were problems and resentments towards British. First question you can write, what was the background, or you can say what was political and economical condition of Indian? What was the political and economical situation of Indians during First World War? Correct. The first paragraph you can cover it. Now at the back, entry of Gandhi. Gandhi has brought the concept of Satyagraha. I have explained you. He started 3 satyagrahas at 3 different places. In Satyagraha, he will not eat anything. He will keep fast, indefinite fast, right? And because of the fast, there is a pressure. The pressure will mushroomed up, and they will put pressure on the government to withdraw some of their policies. So he did 3 satyagrahas, 1916, 1917, 1918, at 3 different places for different social groups, and he got success in all of them and became more popular in India. Now people are seeing him as their undisputed leader. All agreed on Gandhi and started following him. 16, Champaran, Bihar. Then Kheda, Gujarat. Third, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. For peasants, farmer and mill workers. Correct? So for different social groups, he won this. Write down the next question. Which were the first satyagrahas adopted by Gandhi when he after arriving in India? Next, so these all satyagrahas are given on page number 55 on the I think in last paragraph. It is clearly written. So the entire paragraph will come what all satyagrahas was taken by the Gandhi. Next, now 1990, 17, 18. Write down that in under timeline. 15 Gandhi came, 16, 17, 18, 18. All the satyagrahas, write down the timeline simultaneously. Just listen to me and fill up your timeline. Now 1919. After seeing these protests of Gandhi and what do you say, that awareness of people, or you can say anti-protest of British got scared. They made one law which is called Rolex Act, because it was made by the Sir John Rowlatt. Correct? So Rowlatt made this act, and in this act, if you or anyone or 2 or 3 people are found standing in any corner of the society, 2, 3, 4 people are found in any corner of the society, we will arrest you. We will not ask you why were you standing there. So that means public meetings were completely denied, and we will put you behind the bars for 2 years, and we will not ask you till 2 years why were you standing there, and then we will start case against you. So in short, we will put you behind the bars. So that was called Rolex Act. When this act was out, so Gandhi had to do one more protest, because this is anti-human rights. So he was about to do this satyagraha in Delhi, but he was arrested before reaching Delhi. Correct? What happened that after the implementation of this act, please write down the next question. What was Rolex Act? There was a festival called Baisakhi, was celebrating in Amritsar on 13th April 1990, and in charge of that area was General Dyer. He went with his police in that meeting and fired openly, stating that they were aware about the Rolex Act. Why were they sitting in the assembly and celebrating it? Public meetings are not allowed. So Jallianwala Bagh massacre took place after that, which was very heinous crime in the history of human. Next question, what was Jallianwala Bagh massacre? If Jallianwala is asked, you have to mention Rolex Act. If Rolex Act is asked, you have to mention Jallianwala. They are in association with each other. Both the answers are given on the next page, very easy. After seeing all this issues, so Gandhi he was troubled a lot, or the main leaders at that time were also got feared. They had also some issues in their mind what to do next. So there was one other social group called Muslims, and this social group had one more issue. As I have discussed, that First World War ended, and there was Ottoman Empire who was fighting in this war, and the winning party included UK, put some restrictions on Ottoman Empire's spiritual leader called Khalifa. Okay, so if my leader or my spiritual leader or anyone belonging to my religion is put under some restriction or condition or inside the prison, so I have to protest. This is a normal behavior of humans. So all the Muslims of the world got angered. From India, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali went to Gandhi and asked, please do one satyagraha for us, put pressure on British so he would remove that restriction, because he was in that party of putting restriction. Because I am not telling you here in detail that in First World War and Second World War there were 2 groups, Allied and Axis. So he was the UK was in Allied group and Ottoman Empire was in Axis group. So this group put pressure or restriction on this group. So those who win have everything in their hand, and they put lot of restriction to the losing party. So same happened that time. So now Gandhi is thinking, if I am doing these multiple satyagraha for for this party, for that party. Let us start one nationwide movement at once, and let us see the participation of people, and we will put pressure on the British to remove these policies of yours. In this protest, we will put pressure on the government. In addition to that, I would like to add, Gandhi was not in favor of freedom at that time. That is written in history. Okay, the freedom concept of freedom came later. We will discuss it later. So, what was Khilafat movement? Please write down the question. Gandhi started this. Actually, Gandhi started a small movement of Khilafat movement and pressing Indians that we will be putting pressure on the British. In association with that, though if we will give it a name Khilafat, later on it was changed to the non-cooperation movement, in which Hindus will also join. So there will not be an issue of Hindu and Muslim. So we all are together and fighting with the British. So 1.3, why NCM? So NCM was because, according to Gandhi in one of his book, Hind Swaraj, he says, we have cooperated with British, that is why they are living in our country. Once we will stop cooperating, so they will go away. So how to stop non-cooperation? How to stop non-cooperation with them, how to stop cooperation with them, and we will practice non-cooperation, that we are not now cooperating you anyway. So it was, the concept was accepted in the beginning. It was not accepted by the Congress party, but later on it was accepted. So in Nagpur, this NCM, the concept of NCM, to start NCM, non-cooperation movement, with all the people of country adopted. So it was, as I have discussed, it was adopted in December 1920. Fine, it was adopted in December 1920 in Nagpur. Previously, it was not accepted by the Congress government when it was discussed in September. And there was one election pending in November by the British, and that was the election in which they were offering Indians that you participate in the election. So we will, once you will win, so we will give you that area to rule. So that was just a kind of a lollipop offered to us, so not to protest against them. Correct? So in that, all people joined, only one party did not join, that was the Justice Party. They fought the election. Okay. So how to start that? So next question, how NCM was adopted? So NCM was adopted in unfolding stages. Unfolding stages means, first we will drop their jobs, we will leave their jobs, we will leave schools and colleges, we will get away with the titles they have offered us to show that we don't like you. So, and this way, once the jobs were not joined by the Indians and school colleges were shut down, so many things were done in subsequent steps as designed by the Gandhi. So it was a setback to British economy a lot, and they got this now glimpse, Indians have been awakened. Now they want us to behave in a proper way if we want to rule the country. So Britishers had lost their economy from 102 crore to 57 crores. That was the outcome of that protest, was started by Gandhi in 1920 December. It was adopted across the country. Now the issue was there because no communication was there by Gandhi directly. If I am giving one speech here, so some people are writing, and now this speech will be copied by many people, and then it will be told to the other people. I am giving this speech in Delhi. If it has to reach to Kerala, it will take 1 month, or might be the words would change, or might be the tone would change. So this created some problem in terms of understanding the concept of Satyagraha according to Gandhi's vision that no violence has to be there, but it did not happen. Violence took place, and Gandhi, when he heard this news, he got disappointed and he dropped NCM due to one of the violences. But before that, let us move and see to different parts of the country, how did people participate. So 2.1 is participation in countryside, means rural area. There so many people joined enthusiastically, And there was a one fellow called Baba Ramchandra. He was the sannyasi, and he has been to Fiji as a labor, and there people were forced to work without wages, free of cost. This is called the Begar, Begar. This is written here. So after adopting of NCM, they wanted to fight against this Begar under the rural side people, and this fellow came into the picture, and he took the charge, and he encouraged people to join the NCM. And apart from this, Awadh Odd Kisan Sabha, means at some places farmers also started making their organized small groups, organizations and meetings. And these were some positive signs. People stopped using British goods, and they started using khadi, but khadi was comparatively costly, and it was not available also. So that was one of the things which found out later on by the Gandhi. Okay, it was not properly planned. If you are offering someone to stop wearing British clothes, which is cheaper because made in industry, and now you are offering the person to wear khadi, it is first of all not available, and it is quite expensive. So this has to be managed. Correct. So in countryside this is happening, and at some places there was a violence against their landlords, means the poor people of the villages broke the houses of their landlords by thinking so that they follow British, because zamindar were puppets of British, so they showed their anger by breaking the houses of zamindar and tolakdars in the villages. So this happened in countryside. So please write the question. Explain the situation of NCM in countryside, how did people adopt NCM in countryside. So this is the entire paragraph on page number 59 that you can write. Next question. Next is what happened in tribal places. Please write the next question. What happened in tribal places during NCM? So next page, on page number 60, the entire paragraph is talking about plantation. Gudan hills of Andhra Pradesh is mentioned here, the example. Here Gudan hills are in Andhra Pradesh, and people started guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare means now they are against British, so by forming their secret groups and attacking the Britishers in the nights and killing the family members and their properties happened. And this happened under the guidance of Alluri Sitaram Raju. There was one more fellow, and he used to claim that he has some spiritual powers of Gandhi. So they were under him, and after launching of NCM, all the people got the license to do whatever they want. They used violence which was against concept of Satyagraha, but they were happy that there is some Indian who has started this kind of a protest, and he is favoring all of us, and he is listening all our demands. So there was kind of a situation of negative and positive. So it was not followed as per the principles of the Gandhi, but people were happy to join that movement, and they participated with full enthusiasm. So they started wearing khadi, some of them those who had accessibility and availability. Next, is that clear? The next question was how NCM was adopted in tribal area, and who was Alluri Sitaram Raju. When after doing this guerrilla warfare, because he is using violence, so finally he was caught and executed. It had to be like this. Correct. Next we have tribal places. Next we have plantation. Plantation, you know what is plantation? Where you have lots of labor working for you, and the labor was bondage labor, and they were not allowed to leave the plantation for years and to move to their houses. So this was a precondition of the Britishers. They forcefully asking them to work under this law called Inland Emigration Act of 1859, that you will not leave from this place. If you will leave, you will be shot. Correct. So forced labor was practiced, bondage labor was practiced under some act made only by the Britishers. This way many people were dying day and night in the plantation itself. So once they heard about this news of NCM and someone from Indian origin is doing this for all the people of the country, so they also got some feeling of energy, and they left plantation. Some of them left the plantation, and finally they were being shot. So when the news reached to Gandhi, so again it was troublesome for him. So next is, and they started using one slogan called Gandhi Raj is coming, British Raj is going. So this way the things were, meshed up. People did not understand how to do satyagraha, and this way somewhere some newses were coming from different corners of the society. And the major news which saddened the Gandhi was, there is a place called Chauri Chaura in UP where some Indians burnt one police chowki in which 22 white policemen were died. So that was a painful incident for Gandhi because his principles were not followed. So in middle of that, Gandhi stopped NCM without discussing anyone. When he was starting the NCM, he was discussing, talking, telling everyone, but once he stopped just like that, which made many people angry with Gandhi. So this ended in 1922. Here you have to write how NCM was adopted in rural side, in tribal side, and in plantation, and in towns. Correct? In towns it was, sorry, I did not discuss that. In towns, students joined it happily. They left their colleges, schools. Lawyers also joined, and liquor shops were picked it up. Means English liquor shops were destroyed because that has become sin for all of us. So this way, in towns also, the NCM was adopted with a high spirit. Correct? And how did it end? With the incident of Chauri Chaura. So this was the entire concept of NCM so far. So you please write in your timeline, in 1919 Rolex Act, in 1920 adopt of NCM, and in 1922 withdrawal of NCM. Please write. Now we are continuing from 1922, and we are directly jumping to the 1927 in timeline. But let me give you the background what happened after that. After NCM, many people left Gandhi because of that sudden decision. And there were two people, C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru. They formed their own party called Swaraj Party, right? Because they thought now Gandhi is not going to listen to us, and we are not going to follow him. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose also left him and adopted radical means to fight with British. And about HSRA, the organization was formed by Sukhdev and Bhagat Singh together to fight against British with their own means of throwing just a small bomb in the legislative assembly by showing that they can do whatever they want. You should start fearing Indians now. We have bombs, so we can throw you out. So Netaji has gone to build his army, and Bhagat Singh has gone to build bombs just to make them fear. Motilal has gone to make different political party to fight elections. All had different means just to get away with the British. But earlier they were together in NCM, but later on they got spreaded because of the sudden decision of Gandhi. And this way Gandhiji thought that I need to make my people understand that first of all the casteism which we practice should be stopped. Gandhi thought after the NCM that because of casteism many people were not joining and we were not uniting. So he started working for the Dalits, or he gave them the name called Harijan, children of God, and he started living in their colonies, cleaning their toilets, eating with them, and showing this example to the upper class people not to misbehave with them and not to get away with them. They are part of your society, accept them and finish and just eliminate this casteism, or you can say the bhed bhav practice from your lives, else we won't be able to get away with British, because British know that we are divided inside. That is the only reason. So he started working on those parameters on Gandhi. Gandhi started working on the parameters of uniting the society within by working with the people within, and other people started working in a different way. And Congress has become more radical. Now Jawaharlal Nehru has become the president of the Congress, and he has started taking strong steps. So first step was that there was a meeting in Lahore of Congress in 1929, and he declared that coming 26 January of 1930, we are going to celebrate it as our Independence Day. Whether we have got it or not, we would like to celebrate it. So that is the reason that Indian Constitution was made on 26th November 1949, but we waited for 26th January to come and to implement our constitution, because that day was being celebrated by Congress party from last 17 years. Okay, from 1930 to 1947. This is mentioned in source C. Please write down the question. The Independence Day pledge. What was Independence Day pledge of Congress? The answer is given here. So this is happening in India, what I have discussed about all the characters. They are involved and doing some practices. But what the British is doing after seeing the NCM and loss of their economy, what were they seeing? So they made one, there was a Tory government in the England. See, this is a history that England was also ruled by the monarch as well as the government. So the government was headed by Tory, T-O-R-Y. He made one group of Sir John Simon, and there were 6-7 people in that group, and that group was sent to India, particularly that go to India and view India and make constitution for them. And this was known as Simon Commission in 1927. What is this? You are making constitution for India. This way, what do you want to prove? That India is your dominant state and it will be run according to the principles that you will lay down in the constitution, and without any Indian considering them and telling them. So this, when it was being out, the news was being out, Indian got angry. As Simon Commission reached to India, they showed them black flag and they pressurized the train to take U-turn. They did not allow Simon Commission to land on Indian, soil. So this happened. All wanted to get away with British, and all were using their own means, whatever they were thinking, but without any direct and clear leadership except Gandhi, because somehow Gandhi was undisputed. Somehow. To this level, correct? So Simon Commission came into 1928. Please write down the next question. What was Simon Commission? Correct? And source C I have already discussed. Correct? So this way, Gandhi was also getting news what is happening. And one more thing, there was a severe, economic depression in the world of 1929. If you remember, that is a part of economics. You just understand in a nutshell and in a simpler way. There was no money circulating in the world. So this impacted Indians also. Indian businessmen did not, they were put lot of taxes by the British to sell their product outside, and Indian farmers were asked to grow everything for them for free. So two groups were also facing lot of problem with British, this industrialists and the farmers. Correct? So this made Gandhi to launch one more satyagraha after seeing so many issues, because people went to him. So before that, he wrote one letter to Simon. Now the new government is there, sir. This is called Lord Irwin. He wrote one. There is no person who is ruling. Lord Irwin. He wrote 11 demands that please fulfill our demands. Else, because of your pressure, you are putting so many taxes on us, we are unable to work. So kindly fulfill our demands, as we will do the satyagraha, one more satyagraha. So the demands, of course, were not taken into the consideration, and Gandhi, when he got to know that salt is also being imposed, taxes also imposed on the salt. So what happened? So he planned and he launched civil disobedience movement. What is civil disobedience? Disobey. We will not follow you. The previous one was non-cooperation. We will not cooperate you. This time we will not obey you. This is called civil disobedience movement. So he started that whatever law you make, we will break it. So he broke. So you know that entire story, that he from his ashram Sabarmati to Dandi, he walked on foot for 24 days to 40 miles with 78 followers on foot day and night. Went there, broke the salt, used it to show that we are not bothering you while using the salt and not paying you the tax. Correct? So this was mark of the new Satyagraha of Gandhi called civil disobedience movement. Now in your timeline, please add 1927. Please write down 1927 Simon Commission, 1929 Great Economic Depression, 1930 Pledge of Congress of being independent. 1930 again, launch of CDM, Civil Disobedience Movement. 1932, halt of CDM. 1934, relaunch of CDM. Right, and one more, 1942, Quit India movement. This way the timeline is ended. Moving to the CDM again, as I have discussed, how many people walked with the Gandhi? It was a launch of CDM. Now many people joined Gandhi, correct? So I will discuss it later, but when the Gandhi started this movement, again the principle will remain the same, no violence. Britishers came, started beating Indians, putting them behind the bars. So many people came for the protest that their jails were full. Women also joined this time. In NCM, women were not there, but this time women also joined, interestingly. So what has happened, that after when many women are joining, so jails are full. The British got troubled and they wrote to Lord Irwin, please stop this, call Gandhi to stop this CDM. So Gandhi was being communicated via letters that you please come to England for meeting. Before that, there was also a meeting, first round table conference, in which Gandhi was not part of it. Now second round table of conference. Round table means round table will be round and all will be sitting and seeing each other and discussing the matter. So Gandhi accepted that invitation, but before that he signed one pact called Lord Irwin Pact, in which he said, okay, when I am going and coming back, there will nobody will use any violence, or there will not be any protest. Okay, so and Gandhi asked that please release my people. So Irwin ensured, you come to here, we will release them. So there was one popular leader called Abdul Ghaffar Khan. He was also known as Frontier Gandhi. He was being jailed. Jawaharlal Nehru was also jailed. Many popular leaders were jailed, but none of them was released. Gandhi went to England. There was a meeting. However, nothing concrete came out. Gandhi came back, and Congress people are still inside the jail, and now Congress is declared as illegal political party. This way, Gandhi got disappointed and he relaunched CDM in 1934, but it has lost its momentum, or you can say the energy. So this was Gandhi Irwin Pact, and I have discussed, so you can write what was Gandhi Irwin Pact, how was CDM launched, what was the reason to launch CDM, how was CDM launched. Continuously see, I am taking your NCERT page one by one. Next, who was Abdul Ghaffar Khan in one line. And next, who participated and who did not participate in the CDM. So first, I am picking up page number 65 and I am telling you how participants saw the movement. In that, you will see the participation, who participated, and the next one is the limits of civil disobedience. Here you will see who did not participate. So majorly three groups were there. So I am starting with the who participated. So poor peasants participated because they were exploited day and night. Jat of Uttar Pradesh, Patridar of Gujarat, they participated because of this great economic depression. They were exploited like anything, were not given wages, were forced to grow crops which were bringing money to the British, not to them. Correct? So they were the group. Second, industrialist, as I have talked about, the FICCI. FICCI is a Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries, was made in 1927 on this ground that together, being industrialists, let us make an organization and we will go to Gandhi and Gandhi will do something. So that was a rich class group who participated in CDM. Okay, and out of 11 demands, one of the demand was theirs to reduce the tax which was imposed on them. Correct. Next was the working class of industries, where these industrialists were they had their industries, did not participate. The working class thought that now the Congress is helping their owners only, not them. But if you see and go into the deep, there was a problem of casteism. One, there was a problem of wages, and Indians also were not able to pay full wages to the working class. So working class thought that this is a problem of their own owners, rather thinking in a deep and detail and checking the entire situation. Correct? So they also did not participate. Now let us see. One more group who participated, then very interesting, women participated this time, and they were encouraged by Gandhi, and they gave away all their jewelries, because whatever you do, you need money. So they give away all their jewelries. This way, who participated? Peasants, industrialists and women. Who did not participate? The first group was Dalit. Dalit group is scheduled caste, because they had in their mind that we are different from them. Not in their mind, because the practices against them were such. So their leader, or you can say representative of them, was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was demanding that we would like to get separated, and we don't want to live with you whenever we will be free. So this made Gandhi cry. He also kept indefinite fast for that, to convince B.R. Ambedkar, don't go away, I ensure we will provide you the reservation, and I sign on the paper. So that was the Pune Pact, signed in 1932, in which Gandhi promised Dr. B.R. Ambedkar that after independence you will be giving the reservation, but for 10 years, but it extended till to 2020. So we are not going into that. So this way, that group in the beginning did not participate. Later on, they agreed to be part of India only. This group did not participate. Second group was working class, which I have discussed you, and Muslims did not participate. Now the Muhammad Ali Jinnah also wanted to get separated from India, you know that, because in some of the meetings of Hindu Mahasabha, someone said that if this country represents Hindu, so the Prime Minister would be Hindu. So that stuck into his mind, and he said, okay, now for Muslims we will going to have our separate country or nation. So that group also did not participate. So that you have to read on, you will find it interesting, which I have just discussed. So this way, who participated and who did not participate. Write down the next question, which all groups participated in CDM and which did not. Give reasons. Correct. So 3 participated and 3 did not participate. Very easy language, you can get to know that. And in the end, now the next and last movement of Gandhi was added in a box, that is Quit India movement. I am finishing it first, then I will go to the last topic. So it was launched on 8th August 1942 in Bombay session, and there was only speech by Gandhi, do and die, and hartal and mass protest was done, and one of the main leaders was J.P. Narayan. And if you will read, go and study higher political science of 12th, you will get to know more about J.P. Narayan and the politics after 1947, and how influential leader was he. So this way Gandhi also started one more movement, Quit India movement, in 1942, given in the box only. So it will come only for a 1 marker. Just have a look at that and just read on. Last topic we have is the sense of collective belongingness. What is collective belongingness? You are coming from Kashmir, I am coming from Kerala. How would we got to know each other that if we belong to the same country? But if you are carrying Tiranga and I am also carrying Tiranga, so that will make us connected. So here some symbols were used to unite people, which help people to unite it. So role of artists are there. So concept of Bharat Mata emerged with the painting of Abhindranath Tagore, Vande Mataram, by the concept of Rabindranath Tagore, and Tiranga. In Tiranga, first of all, previously stars and moon was also shown, because to represent both the communities of India, major communities, but then it was removed and Gandhi's Charkha was put, then it was removed, only center circle was being used. Okay, so here you are going to read about them, that who contributed what. So some of them named, Natasha Shastri was also there. They started writing regional poems in their local language, just to inspire people to take participation in nationalism movement, as we did in the case of nationalism in India. Karl Krupinski was one of them in Poland. Did I discuss that? And Gotterfeld was from Germany. They also influenced people to join the nationalism. And the next paragraph we have reinterpretation of history. Write down the question, what was the contribution of artists in nationalist movement of India? What was the contribution of artists in nationalist movement of India? And next question and last, what was reinterpretation of history? Reinterpretation of history means that go back to the history and read about your Rani Jhansi Ki Bai, Tatya Tope, Shivaji Maharaj, who fought with the British, and please recall them and work like them. So this way we will finish the British. So next question, what was reinterpretation of history? Page number 72, central paragraph, very important, always comes in the board. And last is your conclusion. You can go through that. Some of the pictures of Bharat Mata is also given. I hope this chapter has helped you. This way I have covered it. For any doubt, you can contact me. I am just a mail away in doubt classes. Thank you so much.